You're on the road beyond. I'm Todd Duplantis. Welcome to the show. What a show it's going to be. Glad to have you with us, to our audience on Facebook Live and YouTube. We're here every Tuesday, 7 p.m. live Central Time. Of course, you can always find us on Twitter as Road_Beyond. You can look for us on Facebook as the Road Beyond Podcast. And make sure you look for us on YouTube as the Road Beyond Podcast. Subscribe to our channel and you'll get these shows when they're posted. Tonight, we'll be looking at how comedy has been almost prophetic as the world events turn full circle. This is more than just a Road Beyond show. This is definitely a winding back road that's mirrored what is really going on in a way that is definitely has karmic significance. This back road of comedy in our nation's capital that has been followed by our producer, Scotty Barrett. He's been with it. He's been following this for almost 4 decades. Scotty, I know you're very excited about tonight's show.
I am indeed. Much of comedy that we're going to showcase tonight is uncanny and prophetic. This kind of prophetic humor comes to us from a comedy group started in Washington, D.C. 40 years ago, 1982, and by the amazing and funny Gross National Product. And it's created by my old friend, John Simmons. In the days of the kings and the courts had their court jesters, and the jesters at times were the ones who opened the door for change by making injustice a laughing matter, but that persuaded the rulers to make change. Well, Gross National Product for 4 decades has come full circle, covering every administration. And speaking of the road beyond, we're going to take our audience on a real road trip. They would do a bus tour called Scandal Tours. It was really funny. But back in 1989, we took over the studio at CNN one night and made a big mess. But we produced an interesting political comedy bit. Let's look at it now. That's when George Herbert Walker Bush was president, King George the First, as I like to call him. And let's look at that right now.
All right.
Capital city, drugs, theft, prostitution, and that's just the Senate. The streets are almost as bad.
With President Bush's new war on drugs, the question is, how many prisoners will he take? And when will he ban the deadly assault rifles on the street?
Tanunu. Yes, Look, I banned those imported assault rifles. The American ones don't hurt anyone. And most of those people with assault rifles are legitimate sportsmen. Yes, Tanunu, I want a kinder, Gentile nation. I really do. Yes, sir.
Meanwhile, back in Panama.
So, Bush wants me, Manuel Noriega, the coker. Well, wait until he gets a load from me. Lutz, camera, acción. Hello, America. It is me, Manuel Noriega, the coker. And I come to you to offer a neighborhood franchise in coker products.
Love that coker.
Yes, these are my Colombian friends. And we can make you richer than you ever possibly could have imagined. Now, of course, you make it come down in the process. But you don't get something for nothing.
Love that coker.
And you stick with it, who knows? Someday you own your own car, a nice new beeper for your belt, or someday you may even own your own crack house. Because remember, a nose is a terrible thing to waste.
Love that coker.
DEA patrol, I've gone far beyond control. I'll continue without cease, shipping cocaine overseas. So kiss my Rachel with me, please. Ever dance with Lee Atwater in the pale moonlight? You idiot. Don't you remember from back in your old CIA days? Poppy, it was you who created me. And that's just our little secret. You wouldn't hit a man with glasses, would you? Sure would. I'm Bushman.
True to President Bush's predictions, the evils of drugs and crime have been eliminated. But if the forces of evil do arise, he has given us this sign.
Well, back in 1989, that was really cutting edge.
There you go. Get a little bit of applause as well.
We have the Oscars to honor the best acting, and then
let's see if we can get it to end here.
Yeah, but you know what? The creator of that is a good friend of mine, and his name is John Simmons, and he's here with us tonight. John, brings back a lot of memories, doesn't it?
Let's see if we can get him to unmute his mic. Can you unmute your mic there, John?
Got it.
There we go.
Hello.
Okay.
Hey, everybody.
Hey.
Hello. I knew Scotty when he had hair, but I'm not going to make that joke. You might want to hit me.
Slap you. John, those days were really heady. I mean, I'm talking about CNN in its very early stages. We used their studio, and we went in there one night. Well, talk to me about that. That was crazy.
Well, it's kind of like Animal House. Now, Scott, this is a political cartoon. It was 1982 when we did the pilot. A senior vice president from what they called then Chicken Noodle News. They gave us the studio at night. And we were, I remember the head of the news, Ed Turner, was like screaming at us one morning for his cameras for, I think it was Bernard Shaw. And well, anyway, the world wasn't ready for what we were attempting to do, and especially CNN, because they were having problems. And you were there because you were a reporter, and you went through some of the interesting times of the early days of CNN that people don't even remember.
But the union issue was a big one.
That's right.
I mean, that's one thing we don't understand here in Texas. They don't have a union issues like that. But you guys actually went into the CNN studio after hours. Could something be like that be done today?
No, I don't think so.
Did anyone lose their job over this, Scotty?
Very close. Very close.
Well, yes. Actually, there was a senior vice president who saw us at a club and decided that this was going to be his pet project. And that's how it all started. And then there was John Holloman. There were people like Scott Barrett, good old Kenny Reff, and Jeff Smith.
Jeff Smith,
yes.
People was directing for us. They were all CNN, and they came in at night. Oh, gosh. What a crazy
we came in at night and basically took it over and,
Well, John, let me ask
you.
You are from the D.C. area. You were born from what you've told me before, you were born an army or a military brat where you.
That's right.
Tell me how that added in. And then being in D.C., you're enmeshed in all of the politics there. Obviously, you got a lot of material to choose from when you're living in D.C. and you're a comedy team that focuses on political satire. Talk about how your upbringing helped you with getting into this type of comedy.
Yeah, well, everybody in Washington, it's news all the time, and everybody breathes at all the drink tanks and the lobbyists and everybody in restaurants and whatnot. So it's kind of like if you're a Washingtonian, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
And is it like it is in the movies? I mean, you see backdoor deals being had over a couple of glasses of scotch at a bar. Is that the way it really happened then? And does that happen now?
Today, like I said, today's kind of like democracy, autocracy, and hypocrisy.
Right.
It still goes on. It's a little more divided right now.
Yeah.
And
I know it's a lot more divided now.
Well, I was going to ask you both that. Have we ever been this divided as a nation? I mean, from your career, you stretch back 40 years watching politics.
Right.
Not in my career. I've never seen it this divided. Never. It never.
No.
John, what about you?
We used to do a joke and we'd come out and we'd say, where are the people from Maryland? Oh, they're my Democrats. Where are the people from Virginia? There's my Republicans. Where are the people from DC? Oh, you don't care. So, but basically, no, it's pretty interesting right now. I mean, you run into all kinds of people in DC as we have senators, congressmen. There's this thing called the gridiron where people used to like to get together and make fun of each other.
Right.
And it was everybody thought that was cool, but now we're moving into a different era where they don't even like to hang out with each other.
Well, I mean, don't even get me started on that, because let's not even get into the censorship that's going on Twitter and on all the major social media platforms. If you think of classic shows, when I think of classic shows, I look back at the old Johnny Carson shows. I watch them all on YouTube. They're all available. The comedy that was done, the Rodney Dangerfield, Red Fox, you wouldn't get away with that these days. It wouldn't be happening.
Yeah, Don Rickles.
Don Rickles. I mean,
he would be dead today, I think.
Yeah.
He would have been executed probably. I don't know.
John, you made a career of following administrations, and you pull no punches, whether they're Democrat, Republican.
Right. Equal opportunity offenders, as they say. You know what I mean?
Equal opportunity offender.
Yes.
I want to get your take on some things, because I know I'm going to ask you a question in a second, but I want to ask you first off, I want to say some presidents' names, and maybe you can give me a take in a couple of sentences on each one. Let's start with who we just saw, the Bushman himself, Bush 41.
Kind of a wimpy, but blue blood dude from Yale,
Okay. All right. And then we'll go on to his successor, which was Clinton.
Bill Clinton. Yeah. Smooth. Magnetic.
I always thought he was one of the best communicators ever, whether you agreed with his politics.
We did a show for Bill Clinton and his sidekick, the evil Carvel. And he came on stage once, and they were like the Kellyanne couple of those days. Like the Conways, it was like Mary Matlin and Carvel. She was a Republican, he was a Democrat. Of course, we know that. And we would do both shows, and they just like to laugh, right?
And let's get to the next president, Bush 43, GW.
George W. Bush.
King George II.
Yeah, he's I don't know, a little bit of kind of confused, I thought, most of the time.
Okay.
Who was really in charge?
His mannerisms were great to play.
Right.
Who was really in charge, him or Cheney?
What's that?
Who was really
in charge? Yeah, Dick
him
Cheney,
or Cheney?
Mr. Halliburton.
Yeah.
We're going to get to who's in charge.
They called him the Dick.
We're going to get to who's in charge with the current administration in a second. But let's go on to the next one. Another, I thought, equally great communicator, Barack Obama.
Barack Obama was, once again, very magnetic. And I would say Obama, he's just a survivor, man.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Highly educated survivor.
I'm sure you had a treasure trove of material with Donald Trump.
Oh my God. Yeah. And still do.
Yeah.
Still.
We're going to go through Trump withdrawal when he goes to prison.
That's right. As they say, it's a growth industry.
Okay, and let's get to where we are now. Your take on things today. Has things been, from what it appears to many people, that Capitol Hill may be a bit disorganized right now?
Slightly.
What is your take on the current administration and the way things are going?
Well, one thing that we've always done is project, kind of like coming from that background that I have. People like plan ahead. So like with Biden in particular, he had his own little scandals with Anita Hill, and now it's come full circle where we've got, she's, I guess Clarence Thomas would prefer her sexting instead of texting, but it's come full circle where Biden got wrapped up in that scandal. And so now Biden's new thing is, he's got some problems communicating and everything and says things, he's always been like that. But right now, today in particular, which is I find very interesting, is how repetitive everything is. It's always repeating itself. History repeats itself. I think people repeat themselves, but we have a 7-hour gap. Whereas with Nixon, when I grew up, that's how I learned about comedy, through Tricky Dick and the Creeps that bungled the White House burglary. It was the 18-minute gap. We just used to play static, and then say, "Oh, you listen." Yeah.
Well, here's my question for you, and maybe you can give me your take on this. The president will get out there and he'll make a statement, and then maybe 20 minutes, half an hour later, tweets will go out, saying, "No, we really didn't mean that. We really mean this."
Yes.
My question is, we know Biden's not tweeting. Right. We know Trump did. Yeah, we all know that. We know Biden's not tweeting. So if he's saying one thing, tweets are coming out saying, "No, we really didn't mean that." Who the heck is running things right now? I
have no idea.
I mean, there's a bit for you guys, the Twitter wars.
Well, I thought that Twitter already won that with Trump. So, you know what I mean? I thought that war was fought, and his new Truth Network isn't very truthful, but it's out there. I don't know. I mean, I really can't. You got to project ahead, like Putin, for example.
Right.
We always said it's Latter Day Night fever. He's a member of the KGBGs. And
I saw that. Yep.
Yeah, right. And so you could see him coming a mile off. I mean, we were making fun of him when we had him, without a shirt on the moon. We had him without a shirt on the thing that hovers in space. What is that called? The space station, which you're having problems with right now.
Right.
And you could just see it coming. So you'll see a cycle coming, and you'll start making fun of it. We also did something about. We did the one and only official North Korea musical to Oklahoma. North Korea, So, you know what I mean? We do international too, which is unusual because most comedians don't do that.
Well, now, what has been the reaction when you do, obviously, in DC, high-profile GNP comedy? A lot of people see your shows, your tour. What's been the reaction to the politicians that you met? Do some of them that you joked with, take it personally, or do they actually find the humor in it?
It's interesting because you're mentioning, we're talking about the whole thing that happened at the Academy Awards, and we're going to talk about that later. But like I said, they used to get together at something called the Washington Correspondents' Dinner, which was a tradition of each other doing what comedians are supposed to do and make fun of each other. Well, there's a theory, and I don't know if it's true or not, but there was a front line on it that when Trump came to see Obama roast him, lampoon him, that's when he decided to run. And, you look at him and he's like, and then he boycotted it through his whole term.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, and it gets back to, how dangerous is comedy. You always can feel tension when you're doing a joke and, this group is Republican, right?
Right.
And let's say you're making fun of a Republican. You can feel a little tension, but then you hit them with jokes. And then if they're Democrat, it's the same thing. It's just sort of like preparation of content.
Well, the other night, the Academy Awards, you talk about comedy being dangerous. Chris Rock nearly got clobbered by Will Smith at, the slap that was heard around the world. What was your take on that?
I was going to say that. I can't keep up sometimes with the news. My take on it is that The only time I felt really like it was that dangerous was Clinton had a habit of running late. Remember that? He was on Clinton time, and we were doing a show for him, and we were waiting forever, right? And then finally the Secret Service shows up, after sweeping the room, and they're like, "Okay, hurry up! You got the leader of the free world, so let's go!" With all their guns and everything. And so it's like that's the only time you feel like this is kind of dangerous. Let's not bomb here, right? So there's those situations. But I think what happened, I find the Academy Awards interesting in the fact that they don't condone violence is what they put out. It's like, but all the content that they make is usually violent.
Violent,
so, And the fact, I've never been hit. I've done improvs where we'll do like a Senate confirmation hearing, kind of like what the Supreme Court justice is going through. And basically we'll pull somebody up on stage. Now I've had people who are drunk out of their brains and they'll get up on chairs and almost, knock the set over. And so improv is a little dangerous, but I've never felt physically afraid. You'll be heckled, which is, you just go back in a great tradition, like the Borscht Belt. But I thought what happened was like, we've gone a little over. So if you want to ask a comedian, if it's dangerous, ask Zelensky.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he's under the gun.
Literally.
He's under the gun. Literally.
Yeah, everybody always, the court jester, and it's like, well, I'm not going to hire you. You're a comedian. But now he's a president. But Ronald Reagan was an actor. The bombing begins in 5 minutes. Come on.
Those hot mics will get you every time. That's the way it works, man. John Simmons, he is with Gross National Product Comedy. Check them out. Check out their Facebook. Check out their YouTube channel. We'll have a link to your website in our social media post after the show. Incredible stories, John. Your stories of CNN. I still can't believe no one got fired from during that time when you guys took over.
Actually, the truth is, I think somebody did, but we're not going to talk about that.
We won't talk about that. Yeah. Okay. But hey, at least it lives on YouTube and infamy. John,
in some projected form, the CNN crew that started that pilot went on to do the political cartoon and then went on to do the PBS specials.
Yeah.
John,
so that's what happened.
We appreciate you joining us on the show, spreading some humor. And when you get your podcast going, let us know.
We will.
Cross promotion. We'll get you back on the show again.
That'd be great. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks for being here. Continued success. Take care.
Hasta la vista, baby.
All right. Scotty, I know you guys go way back, hard to believe you could, nowadays, I just don't think you'd get away with that at CNN. But back then, you could use the studios overnight. Nobody told on you. Hey, everybody's having a good time. And you got something that lives on in YouTube. And
you know who was there during those days? Sissy Baker, Senator Howard Baker's daughter. She was on the assignment desk. She'd come in early every morning. And Katie Couric was on the assignment desk. Yeah, that's how long ago this was.
When at the CNN. Okay, guys, we are going to move on to another discussion, switching gears a bit. Scotty, over the summer, the UAP report came out. And for those of you who haven't been paying attention, the government, under Trump's direction a few years ago, released a report on what they're calling UAPs. That's a government word for UFOs.
Unidentified aerial phenomena.
Exactly. Now, Scotty, I shared the 9-page document with you. I want to get your take on it, but I've given my take to the audience before. Here's the deal, folks. It's a big bunch of nothing. It's a nothing burger. But you've got the government giving a 9-page report, starts off with an executive summary. It says the limited amount of high quality reporting on unidentified aerial phenomena, better known as UAP, hampers our ability to draw firm conclusions about the nature or intent of UAP. Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Listen to this. In a limited number of incidents, UAP reportedly appeared to exhibit unusual flight characteristics. You think so? They're checking these things out at Mach 50. That's what they're measuring.
And they're stopping and they're turning
They're stopping, they're turning, they're going from like half a mile in the air to the ground within a matter less than a second. Okay.
And Todd, the evidence is there.
The evidence is
there.
It goes back to the Tic Tac videos, which you're probably watching right now. Now, it goes on to say, get this, the UAP clearly pose a safety of flight issue and may pose a challenge to U.S. national security. You think? And it gives you some ideas later on in the report. It says UAP probably lack a single explanation, but here's what they're saying might explain this. Okay, one of the things these UFOs, better known as UAPs, could be airborne clutter. Okay, like balloons, recreational, unmanned
drones, maybe. Yeah,
drones you get at Target or at the mall. Those little drones. Yeah, they're doing all these maneuvers. Here's another one: natural atmospheric phenomena. What the hell is that? Okay. USG or industrial developmental programs. Yeah.
Smog.
Okay. Here's smog. Exactly. Swamp gas. Here's my favorite one. Foreign adversary systems. Okay. So they're saying like it could be Russia or China. Well, China, no, because they're not spending as much as we did on defense. Russia, no, look at what's going on in Ukraine. It ain't them, okay? So what could it be? Well, they have this other term where it could be something called other. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to go with other on that one. Then they close it out saying that it may have some ongoing airspace concerns, and it may, just maybe, potentially cause national security challenges. You think? Okay, let's go on to something. You know what a FOI is, okay? Freedom of Information Act. You briefly tell our folks, how do you get a freedom? It's not an easy thing to do, but
it is a long process to file for an FOI. And basically, depending on the department that you're dealing with, you have to go through their Solicitor General's office to get an FOI approved. And then it's got to come back to the director or the secretary of that department. It's a long process.
So Fox News recently published a report saying that someone filed an FOI report to get deeper information. So they released a classified document just recently. Here's some nuggets from that one. Okay. One of them talks about the fact that everything's heavily redacted. Okay. Get this. Here's a quote from there. The most common shape described by military personnel in their reporting was a redacted. One part of this classified report published by the Black Vault, who asked for the FOI, says military aviators described many of these redacted objects as redacted or that redacted. Several sightings were redacted and resembled redacted shapes or like a redacted or a redacted. What is that telling us? A bunch of nothing. So here we are. We've got the government saying there are these things flying around in the sky. We have no idea what the hell they are. But one thing they're not saying, Scotty, which they need to say is if they decide to come on to us or to go after us, there's nothing we can do to protect you. That is the reason why that they're never going to tell us the truth about this.
Well, the thing that, I think the Navy pilots and also vessels, those are the opportunities. Those are the guys who are seeing all this. I mean, you can't deny these videos are there. They're clear evidence. There is clear evidence of another presence. And for the government to give us this whitewashed 9-page report that really doesn't tell us anything is really kind of insulting.
It is, and we've had Daryl Sims on the show. We should get him back on again in the future. Yeah. He's known as the alien hunter. He's one of the most well-versed experts in UFOs. Particularly, he's worked with surgeons to remove things that are implanted into people that aren't from this earth. Okay, so he knows a lot about it. But he has an interesting take on it as well. They're telling you exactly what they want to tell you. You being a former reporter, Scotty, you know what this is exactly about.
I smell a whitewash. This is a whitewash.
The government is spoon feeding you nothing.
They're throwing camouflage over the truth, and we really shouldn't allow this to continue. Somebody needs to go in and break the log jam and pull it all out.
Well, someone will. Hopefully, we'll get them on the show in the future when that happens.
I think it'll be a Navy pilot. That's what I think. Yeah. Or the administrator in the Navy, because that's where a lot of this information comes to. It goes through the Navy.
That's where they finally were getting some information on Area 51 and also Roswell. When that happened, you had people who were expiring in life, and on their deathbed, they were making statements saying, look, I was tied. I was bound by agreements. I was threatened. I could not provide this information. Now I want to, set myself free and let the world know what's really going on. And I think that's the only place we're going to get some real information, but hopefully we'll get it soon. Hey, Scotty, let's see about getting Daryl on in the future.
Yeah.
And, maybe we'll dig into this some more, get his take on the newly classified information of redactedness on the show. All right. Thanks, folks, for being here. Scotty, great show. Thanks you for joining us. Find us on Facebook and Twitter as The Road Beyond Podcast. Also, make sure to subscribe to The Road Beyond Podcast on our YouTube channel. It is free for now, and you can get access to all of our episodes and live shows. Look for us on Twitter as Road_Beyond, and make sure you find Scotty on Instagram, because you're posting some stuff too, right?
Yes.
Thanks for being here, folks. We will see you next week on the Road Beyond Podcast.